for people like Ed who want to hear the whole thing from the beginning. They're spoken to the future to be played quickly at 2 times speed. Alrighty, so now let's get the chat up and running. And we'll say good morning, everybody. There are 0 people watching the chat. Not even my girlfriend is watching. Uh-huh. All right. Now there's 1 person watching. And it's not you. All right. 2 people. Hey, it's Abdagani. We have a new person in the chat. Hello, new person in the chat. From the UK. All right, so afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Oh, and Michael Roper is here. Michael's in New York City. He's a longtime C-ROM listener and somebody I have met in real life. All righty. Good to see you, Michael. All righty, let's get Fresco up and running. And start a new document. How you enjoying this election show, Michael? Oh, what's today about? I don't know yet. I have not prepared in advance. Typically what I do is I start in Adobe Fresco just with a blank canvas. Here we go. Oh, hey, Les. And since I don't have anything planned, does anybody have any requests for a warm-up drawing subject? Les, any suggestions? So I typically like to draw on a color rather than white, so I just throw in some background here. Maybe it's not enjoying. What's your experience of the election in this plague year? I'm not promising that I will take your suggestion, but I'm willing to hear it. Start with the big rake. So it's a portal. There's a hole in the middle. Where does it go? We don't know. Somewhere. All right, a little darker. Here we are. Native American. I would want to draw that from reference. So, do you want to hunt up a picture for me to look at? I have to admit I have not made any particular study of Native American features. Hey, Paul, how you doing? And Rose is just in my ears, but she does see the chat. Pocahontas or Sacagawea. Let's go with Sacagawea. So, all right. She came to a bad end, I'm afraid. Let's see, images. Well, Paul, I've been talking to Rose for about an hour, and it makes me very happy. So here's the thing with Sacagawea. I don't think there's any actual photographs of her, so I'd just be looking at other people's drawings. So let's just get an actual Native American woman. like living, or, you know, somebody who got photographed. Like, let's see. I don't want a model. I just want a normal, real person. Rose says she's doing very well. Let's see. How about, thank you for asking, she says. Let's go with this one. So I'm just going to do a screenshot right quick. Michael is a longtime listener of the C-Realm podcast. And actually, the day that I met Olga, Michael was there in attendance. We all met at a tattoo parlor, and then we moved on to a restaurant called Life Cafe, which has since closed, I'm told. All right, so let's put this over here. Hide that layer. Start a new one. Let's bring in the image. Bark, bark, bark. Oh, let me get the chat back up. What's up with the bat? All right. He says, oh, I chaperoned, but not well enough. Well, it depends what your role was as a chaperone. If it was, well, we'll go no further. So, let's go back over here. I just have one. How would I show? Who said that? Who's he again? I don't know. Maybe I mentioned it. Let's see. So, Paul, when I typed in Odalis Garcia Indian, oh, Les, this is what comes up. So, like, this looks like some celebrity model actress type person. I'm not interested. Okay, for my tattoo, though, we'll say Little Nemo, Dream Pony. And or how about Little Nemo first strip? Yes, here we are. All right, so here I'll read it out to you. This is one of my favorite comic strips. Little Nemo in Slumberland. His Majesty requests the pleasure of Little Nemo. So this is Morpheus, the king of dreams, who lives on the moon. And he sends his messenger here. And I've brought a little spotted night horse for you to ride, but you mustn't whip him or drive him fast. Do you hear? His name is Somnus, and he's as gentle as can be. Oh, this is hard to read. Anyway, I'm not going to read it all. Little Nemo rides too fast. These other animals start, joining in. But this one right here, the frame with the blue background, and there's a rabbit riding a pig, and a monkey riding a kangaroo, and a frog riding, what is this, like a puma or something? And Little Nemo on the horse here, and he's like pushed way up on the horse's neck, and he's holding on tight. That's my tattoo. This right here. And you can see it in the video that I put up yesterday, which is an unlisted video, so I will get you all the link. Here we are. And I'll put it in the chat. All right. If you look at that video, it's just a video of me working out at the gym, but you can see the tattoo. And you can see that it's old and faded and really needs some work. All right. Yeah, I see that. She says, Paul is so sweet, and she says, same to you, Paul. Glad to hear you're doing well. All right, now let's get some artwork going. So, no, I didn't want the bat. So let us Control Z, get rid of the bat. And I have no plans for more tattoos. To which Rose says, yay. I might get this one retouched so it looks better, but it's not high on my list of priorities. All right. So I didn't read the page that this was on. I don't know who this is, but she looks like a real person. So this is what we're going to draw. Alrighty, and let's just grab a sepia tone from here. Anybody have a guess what year this photo is from? I would guess, yeah, sometime in the 19th century. Let's go with a slightly darker tone like that. All right. And just go with a... Wow, OFC. Of course? Is that short for of course? Michael Roper says 1857 for this photo. So yeah, you're right. Right in the middle of the 19th century. Well, I've mentioned to Rose before that I don't much care for tattoos on women except the tramp stamp. I like the tramp stamp. She's got a broad face, doesn't she? Oh. Tramp stamps don't work so well on men. I don't think it looks very good. I mean, surely that's my cultural conditioning, but I prefer them on women. Oh, 1872? Huh. Okay. Well, still. Middle of the... Yeah, me too. Yeah, she's got some crazy cheekbones. Yeah. Yes, I do. She looks like she's lived a tough life. Michael, you've looked up the provenance of this photo. Do we know who this person is? Well, it keeps creeping closer to the present. We started in 1857, then 1872, now we're up to 1873. I expect that before long, this is going to be like 1910, 1962, 1977. Alrighty. I don't know. They're very popular. Lots of women have them. Let's go a little darker. And a little smaller. Alrighty. So she's got this, look at how deep the shadow is under the corner of her eyebrow. It's wild. Yeah, her right eye. It's the left on the page. You can't see her? Well, yeah, you can't really see the eyebrows, but yeah, that's the part I'm talking about. There's a really deep shadow there. All right. I don't know. It's a fashion statement. Pretty much. And I don't necessarily take the notion of female liberation in the early 21st century all that seriously. I think the heavy lifting got done half a century ago or more. All right. Now, drawing this braid, oh my goodness, this would be tedious if I really wanted to do it, in a great detail. So I'm just going to indicate it. All right, let's get some actual lines going here. What do you say? There we go. Got to get brave with it. Oh, that's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Double entendre. Cheyenne. Yep, Pretty Nose Cheyenne Woman, 1878. So here we are. We are pushing into the future. We're up to 1878. Michael, can you confirm that 1878 is the correct date now? Yeah, look at that very strong straight nose she's got. Such strong features, it's hard to get the femininity, which she has. She is feminine. It's hard to get it in the drawing. Wow, look at that earring she's wearing. Look how much it's stretching her earlobe. And she doesn't really have big earlobes. I would guess that she is 24. That's my guess. It's a guess. I mean, it could be very specific and very wrong. Yeah. Yeah, I guess 24. That's my guess. Alrighty. Well, she doesn't look old or frail or sick to me. She looks like a strong, healthy, vibrant woman who's gonna... Well, if in the 19th century she's a Native American woman who's getting a portrait done, a photographic portrait, She's probably somebody, you know? Michael Roper says, totally wrong. She's 23 years, 5 months, 1 week, 2 days, 6 hours, and 41 minutes and 29 seconds, approximately. Yes, the portrait photographer was very specific when he got her information. What was your question, Rose? Or were you reading somebody else's question? That Kamina Drummer character in The Expanse is played by a Canadian Native American. Kamina Drummer. I can't place that character. Who is that? I gotta look that up. Let's see. Bring this back over here. Oh, right. Fred Johnson's second in command. Is she still alive or did she die? I mean the character, not the actress. And this guy, Klaus, I don't know how to pronounce it, he died at the end of the last season. Sorry if that's a spoiler for anybody. Okay, we're not getting distracted with The Expanse right now. All right. So if I'd known I was going to be doing like a really detailed drawing, I would have done this over in Clip Studio. Like I'm not going to draw every little pearl. Actually, I could. Let's see. I could go back, do something like this, and just put in a sort of dark pattern where the pearls go, and then almost white, aren't they? Yeah. Oh, this might not work, but we're going to try it. Let's see. Let's go to FX. Like that. No, it's not working. Yeah, as if. No, my strengths do not lie in that direction. Sorry. Let's see, what other textures can we experiment with here? Come on. There we go. That's kind of nice. Now, is there some sort of fur texture? I'd be really surprised if there were. It's about the same. This needs to be much darker. Let's go here. Okay. Escher, yeah. His drawings are... He was a genius. His stuff is very mathematical. How else to describe Escher? I mean, he does lots of interlocking shapes and impossible geography or geometry. I'll show you. Let's see. Oh, okay. Never mind. Then I won't show you. We'll go back to drawing. Actually, folks, I'm afraid that's it for that Indian lady for this morning. I need to get back to work that has a deadline. So back to the drawing I was on yesterday. For those of you who were not here, got to start the tab mate, so I have scroll control. It was from a drawing that looks like... Oh, why is... There we go. That. All right, now. Yeah, she's taking no prisoners in that photograph. Alrighty, so Steve, we are on the wrong layer. We want the character tones layer. Here we are. All right, so now we go from drawing into what is essentially coloring book work, which I realize is not as interesting to watch. Oh, of the election? I bet we're going to know pretty much today. Yeah, I think so. I mean, Trump had to win all of the, the swing states. And it looks like Biden's ahead in both Georgia and Pennsylvania. So... I'm pretty sure it's going to be Biden. Pretty certain. So some states, like the one I live in, there's no question. There's no point in me even voting because I know that whoever the Democrat candidate is, they're going to win. My state of Vermont. But there are some states where you don't know how it's going to go. And those states this year include Pennsylvania, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, although I think Trump already got North Carolina. But, it's really close. It's like almost 50-50. Like, I think in Georgia right now, of hundreds of thousands of people voting, Biden is winning by less than 1,000 votes. So it's super close there. So... but if you live in California, or if you live in New York, or if you live in Washington State or Oregon, your vote doesn't matter. I mean, those states are completely predetermined who's going to win. Yeah, those are all going to be Democrat states. So, maybe your vote matters on local matters. Who's here? Parker. Hey, Parker. How you doing, man? Hey, Parker, let me pop back over to Fresco here and show you what we started with. Started with this Indian woman. I was experimenting with different texture tools. But now we're on to what I keep apologizing for, because I know it's not really much fun to watch somebody color. But it's got to be done. Kmo, next time I'll suggest. No. I know. I tried drawing an. Yeah, you read that a while ago. Very good, but I must say, Sheila, yeah. Okay, so the chat has gone quiet. What's up, everybody? Tell me something good. Huh. I don't recall seeing Kanye West on the ballot here. And he got more votes than Howie Hawkins? That seems surprising in Vermont. Kanye West, yeah, he ran, but he didn't do it very effectively. He didn't get on the ballot in every state. You know, neither one of my sons have much work ethic. I couldn't really count on them. Neither one of them's ever had a job. Neither one of them's ever really been forced to push themselves to do, to persist in a task that they don't enjoy. Sounds like I'm running them down. I don't mean to, but I fear for their future, given their very limited experience in terms of having to do some work. Now, the older boy is very good at math and things, and he sort of coasted through school without any effort whatsoever, which is not good for him. That is not a good thing. All right, for here. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Rose says, yeah, what is his platform? I don't remember. I think he did a long Joe Rogan interview, but I didn't see it. Kanye West, I can't say I know a lot about him. He's a celebrity from after the period when I was paying attention. I hear that he did like a press appearance where he kind of got all emotional and started talking about his own mental health challenges and things. Yeah. No. My mother tried. So while we were living in Arkansas, she did take my oldest son to church. Yes, Protestant work ethic is... that's what Protestants are known for. Working hard. All right. And what? My mother, yeah, she's Southern Baptist, which is a Protestant denomination. Yeah, the Southern Baptists split off from the regular Baptists on the issue of slavery. The Baptist Convention was against it, and the Southern states didn't like that, so their Baptists split off, and they created a new denomination called the Southern Baptist denomination that was pro-slavery. And they finally renounced their commitment to slavery sometime in the 1990s. Yeah. I would want to look that up. Yeah. True that. Okay. So I'm just going to treat this scene as if there's overhead fluorescent lights and no particular light source anywhere close to any of these guys. So there's not going to be any real harsh shadows or highlights, except on his shiny metal parts. Where, in fact, we're going to crank that up a little. There we go. Oop. So let's start with the dark. So that's Waco, Texas. That was the site where the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms laid siege to the compound of the Branch Davidians, who were kind of a weirdo Christian sect that had a messianic cult leader type figure as their head. And while they seemed kind of creepy, they didn't deserve to be murdered like that. What were you? Let's see. I was in Waco, Baylor University. Yeah, what were you dressed as? And do you have photos? Me? Oh, wow. When was it? Oh, I drew those on the wrong layer. Okay. I don't remember. It's been a very long time. I just can't bring anything to mind. Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. But people thought he was working for the Center for Disease Control, like in a hazmat suit, clean suit. All right, now back down to the tones. What's happening? That's what's happening. All right. Getting there. All right. Rose is looking into that right now. I'm going to keep drawing. Alrighty. Oh. All right, let's put some color in that book, shall we? Or some tone, anyway. The page is almost white. Paul, check out Walking Pod on Google. Did you know this thing they do at the end of Twitch stream is raid another room at the end of a stream? So everyone is then watching that stream. This helps both streamers out. Do you know anybody else who streams starting around 11 or who's going at 11 a.m. Eastern? I have no issue with that. That would be okay. Let's see. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend I fully understand what that means to raid another room. Except to go there en masse, I guess. Ah, can I show them to everybody? Oops. Come on, what's happening? Go away. Not you. You. All right, here's what I have to do. I have to redraw the vector line, extend it beyond the crossed line, and then back to the eraser. No, that didn't work. How about that? There we go. Wrong color. Oh, right. Photo. Yes. Sorry, it had already slipped out of my head. Gmail. Paul, you said you sent me an email? Oh, here it is. I got it. All right. So let's pop on over to the Cintiq screen and there we go. The dog's very excited by the costumes. Bee and beekeeper. That's great. And see the other one. All right. There's the bee trying to escape and the beekeeper keeping her. She's a keeper, all right. I grant you that. All right. Back to the drawing. Or the coloring, as the case may be. Or shading, actually, I suppose is the best term. Alrighty. Boom and boom. And one goes up and the other goes down. All right, and back to the chat. A friend of mine in the States was telling me how someone there only wore jeans and went to a Halloween party. When someone asked him what he was, he replied, only wore jeans. No shirt, no shoes, I'm a premature ejaculator. I came in my pants. Oh. So he came to the party in his pants? No shirt. Yeah, I get it. I get it. All right, coffee break. I'm back. There are a couple of people I follow on Twitch, but you would want to raid another art stream rather than a music creation stream or an Irish gamer, people I see in my followed tab. Well, I can't say that it's like a huge priority for me to find a stream to direct everybody to, but if you guys find something, I would suggest work it out amongst yourselves, and that's the wrong layer. Change the tones. There we go. Bark, bark, bark. Alrighty. There's just not much for a doggy to do, you know, except bark at stuff. Yeah. I bet that dog sleeps quite a bit. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, there's a dog barking in the background at Rose's location. Well, when I was like 17, 18, I got arrested a couple times. It's kind of an ugly life's lesson. So I got arrested for alcohol or minor in possession of alcohol. And my father was a Secret Service agent, and he knew all the cops in all the departments in the greater Kansas City area. And the day after I got arrested, I called a bail bondsman. I got out on bail, and the next day, somebody at the Independence Police Department called my dad and say, "Hey, I see on the the records of detainees last night that your son was here. I can make this whole thing go away. I can just make it so it never happened. It doesn't appear in any records." And my father said, "No, I want my son to learn a lesson." So I got charged. No, I don't have a record. I got charged and I went to court, but my father, having, he knows not just all the cops and not all the police chiefs, but he knew a lawyer who was the former prosecutor for Independence, Missouri. He was the retired chief prosecutor who knew the judge, who knew, who was very experienced, knew all about what was happening. And so this former prosecutor was my defense lawyer in the court where he used to be the prosecutor. And so he humiliated the cop who was giving testimony against me on the stand, just made him look like an idiot. But I wasn't alone when I got arrested. I was with two friends, one of whom was under 18, so he was charged as a minor, and he was not in the same court with me. But my other friend, who was over 18, my lawyer ended up basically blaming the whole thing on my friend. And so my father wanted me to learn a lesson, but I don't think I learned the lesson that he wanted to teach me, because what he taught me was that two people who were in the exact same car, in the exact same situation, they both go into the same court with the same judge. One has a lawyer, the other doesn't. The one with a lawyer gets off with nothing, and the one with no lawyer takes the fall for everything. That's the lesson I learned. So, yeah, that was a really formative experience, we'll say. Alrighty, Getting off track here. Let's get back to work. Back to work. Yeah. No, my father was Roman Catholic, and he didn't really have a problem with drinking. I mean, he kind of did have a drinking problem, but he didn't have a problem with me drinking. Yeah. Oh, this was when I was 17 or 18, and I'm 52 now, so the exact details escape me. But the cop was, not particularly smart. He was a normal cop, just doing a normal cop job, and here's this, not just a lawyer, but a very experienced lawyer who still wields the authority of having been the prosecutor. Not officially, he doesn't have that authority anymore, but to everybody in the court, he is Bob Welch, former chief prosecutor for the city of Independence, Missouri. All right. No, my father did not learn his lesson. He did not learn anything at all. He thought he was very wise and that he had done his fatherly duty to instruct me in the ways of the law. MIP, minor in possession, yeah. Yeah, now I kind of got lucky, all my friends got lucky, in that we weren't just drinking beer in that car, we were smoking weed too. And my friend who had the weed stuffed it all down in between the seats in the cop car when we were in the back of the cop car. Somehow the cops didn't find the weed on him when they searched him, so he stuffed it down between the seats in the back of the cop car. So nobody got charged with possession of marijuana, which would have been a more serious charge at that time than minor in possession of alcohol. Somebody might have done jail time over that. Oh, I bet. Possession of marijuana, yeah. Yes, and he probably didn't have a Secret Service agent for a father. What am I looking for? I'm looking for that. And that. I like that. There we go. How about a little bit more than that? No? What's going on? Something's not right. Oh well. Okay. Oh, Les, what was the most trouble you got into? Actually, I tell you who I'd really like to hear from in terms of the trouble you got into as a youth, and that would be Michael. Let's see. Paul writes, Because he's a bit older than me. Came up at a different time in New York City. When I was a teen, the area surrounding huge parties, I did get arrested for possession of marijuana as a teen. No, my dad was pissed off. He paid for a lawyer and then held that over my head for like 5 years. That he had to spend $1,500 on my lawyer. What a waste. I sold oregano as marijuana first year university. It was the perfect crime. I couldn't possibly get arrested, and yet I paid for it for the next 3 years. Lots of enemies, no doubt. But the most trouble, also arrested. Let's see, Les, that's not cool, man. I agree. That's not cool. Also involving alcohol, well, of course, and I regret it now. Yeah. Of course. Okay. Let's get some background tones going. Background ink, I already have. Background sketch, I don't have a background tone layer. So, no. Delete ruler. There we go. And new. And background tones go below background ink. And now, okay, what are we going to do? We are going to dark and then light. Oopsie, dark and not as dark. And then oof. Try that again. Foreground to background. That's what we want. No. Like that. Let's try it like this. No. Okay, so let's try it. That. If we go the other way. We're just down. Guess we're going to stick with that for now. Or that. Yeah, that. And now we'll just manually put in a shadow beneath the ship there. Oh, that's not a shadow. That's a shadow. And you can check out whenever you need to. Everybody, I'll be right back. All right, everybody. Rose has gone to bed. Alrighty, so what this floor gradient tells me is that there's no color in Lefty's mechanical arm here. So let's go back up to the character tones. And actually, I think we're going to do it the same way we do Steve over here. So we need a highlight tone and a shade tone. But before that, we need the mid-tone, so we'll start with that. Oh, and let me get the chat back. What do we got? What was your first job, KMO? Well, my first job for which I got paid was a paper route. Then my first job that was more of an hourly thing, I was a phone solicitor, and I was trying to get people to make an appointment for a salesman selling thermal windows would come to their house. So I was just the appointment setter, and I was terrible at it. And the boss at that job was very irresponsible. He was a guy, I guess, in his late 20s, and he would buy beer and supply marijuana for all of his high school aged teenage employees. And after work, he lived in an apartment which was in the same building as the call center, and we would go over to his place and play Dungeons and Dragons or watch porn and continue drinking. And yeah, he was a bad influence on me as a young man. That was my first job. But that job as a phone solicitor led me to many other jobs as a phone solicitor. So I did 2 phone soliciting jobs for different lawn services. And later in life I did phone work recruiting truckers for JB Hunt Trucking. Oh, I guess my biggest phone job ever was at Amazon, customer service. Yeah, I guess you could say I was an early adopter of the 21st century employment model of doing cognitive labor, but cognitive slave labor, not cognitive, not like a college professor or something with prestige, but just using my brain and my ability to speak clearly to make money for somebody else. Became a lifelong pattern. That's too big. There we go. All right. Now back to the background tones. All right, so the ship. Let's see, we'll go very dark on the underside, lighter on top, and haha, that's exactly the opposite of what I was going for. Let's try that again. Enough contrast there? Not really. This one darker. And that one lighter. And try that again. Not sure if I like it. In fact, I'm sure I don't. So let's just fill it in and I'll shade it by hand. Oops. What do we got here? Haha, for God's sake, why'd you quit? Actually, we all got fired because we were sucky at it. I worked for some months as an appointment setter for a timeshare company. Never done that, thank God. Did you ever try becoming your own thing as an entrepreneur? Well, I'm an entrepreneur now. I have no idea what that is, Parker. Says Les. Parker says, I was so draining. Probably it was so draining. It took up all my social energy. You sound like a low-key, chill guy, Parker. I bet you don't do well with overly stressful environments. Parker, it's hard to explain. It's like you buy a week. It's like you buy a week of vacation time at some place forever. It's kind of scammy, I think, now. Oh, yeah. Condo timeshare, definitely scammy. I'm not sure I understand you, Parks. Yeah, it's a thing here in the U.S. You know, somebody owns a condo and it's kind of like Airbnb, but more on a permanent basis. Like you're buying the right to be there for a certain period of time every year. You know, the condo is going to be in some vacation-y type place. Like the Florida Keys or Cancun or, you know, someplace warm. Definitely scammy, though. Like lots of organizations that do this, they will they'll buy you dinner. You know, they'll pay you, not pay you, but they'll have a presentation someplace, and you go and if you sit through their timeshare pitch, then you get some prize, something that's worth having. Maybe you get a day or a night at the condo, or, you know, you get dinner and some expenses paid for a little vacation. What is happening? I don't know. Don't know what I'm doing. Come on. All right. All right, we're going to make the back wall really dark. Oh, and I did not extend that line. So here's what I'm going to do. It's kind of cheap. I'm just going to copy a segment of that line and paste it and move it. with layer below. There we go. And then delete that segment. There we go. Has anybody been watching season 3 of Star Trek Discovery? I may shock you all and say I'm actually enjoying it. I'm even enjoying the overly emotional aspects of it. Like for all of Star Trek The Next Generation through Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Enterprise, Star Trek Voyager, the showrunner was a guy named Rick Berman. And for some reason, he wanted the acting to be really flat in Star Trek. And sometimes they would bring actors back, like guest stars, who had their acting was too good, on the first take. And they had them do it again, but, more stiff and with less emotion. And so when Alex Kurtzman and his crew took over Star Trek, with Star Trek Discovery, they, one of their first priorities was to go the opposite direction, just get hyper emotional with everything. So there's lots of screaming and lots of weeping, and particularly with Michael Burnham. And it was really annoying to me for the first 2 seasons, and now I'm over it, I guess. I realize that with Star Trek Discovery, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get lots of weeping, lots of hugging, lots of, people sharing their feelings with one another, and Star Trek just got, the Federation just got really super hyper touchy-feely. Alright. I really do need to pull back and stop fussing with little details here. What else we got here? I used to go door to door and canvass for TexPerg. Oh, I used to do that for MoPerg. PERG is Public Interest Research Group. People would call the cops on me all the time. I never had the cops called on me. KMO, you're offering your service to someone who's paying you per hour. I guess you can say you're a one-man studio. So technically, yeah, I suppose you can argue that you're an entrepreneur. Well, even before the comics gig, I get paid for doing podcasts, and I'm, I don't have a boss. I'm the CEO of, C-Realm. Haha, Paul. I still have some cassette recordings of me doing this that I recorded against the rules, but I just did it to help improve myself doing it. Oh, wow. Well, you were more dedicated to it than I was. Paul, actually that would be the perfect cover to scout out which houses are empty so as to rob them later at night. You have a criminal mind, Les. I have not seen episode 4 this week, says Parker. No, I quit Discovery. Too much bad associations already. It's like when you eat poop. No amount of soap will wash the taste out, or so I imagine. I do, Parker. My first job was as an entrepreneur / artist. A scam artist. I imagine that the actor that played Wei-Yun had to tone it down on Deep Space Nine. Who was Wei-Yun? I don't remember that character right offhand. It's been a long time since I've rewatched Deep Space Nine. But I'm reformed, says Les. I did door-to-door for Greenpeace action for 6 months. 6 months. I never lasted that long with MoPerg. All right. Let's see. I'm going to do a dot pattern down here. bring in, where? Enters, dots. Those don't look like dots to me. There we go. All right, let's try that one. All right, now we will switch to brush and we'll expand it a bit. And then we will take opacity down and erase. But yes, I am definitely not an employee, as I don't have any of the benefits that would come with employment. All right. So yeah, the back wall is going to be dark. Let's go. How much of it can we capture just with a rectangle? Most of it, I think. All right. So we'll do that like that. Lighter. That. Okay. Like that. No, not the dot pattern. What am I doing? Actually, let me experiment while I'm here. Let's go very light with that, and let's go very dark with this. And let's try a dot pattern like that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't do a gradient. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Let's back off. And back off a little. So let's go to the background tones layer. And let's try that again. Like that. Huh. And it is what I was looking for, but let's go not so dark. All right, and now let's remove that, and that, and that, and that, and that. All right, now we'll try it. Okay. Yuck. I'll check the chat here again in just a second. Let's see, let's just do this. A little darker. Huh. What's going on? Oh. I need to be on the ink layer. There we go. All right, to the chat. What's in the chat? I also used to put advertisement flyers on people's doors. A coworker that I was teamed with was black. That was the first time witnessed serious racism. Oh, really? People were rude to the your coworker? So basically, you were a commie, Parker, but green instead of red. What happened, Paul? One day, we were dropped off in a neighborhood in New Braunfels, Texas, to put flyers on doors, and many people were yelling the N-word at us. Wow, what year was that? Threatening us to leave the neighborhood because my mother lives here. The cops were called and told us to leave. I would not say that, Les. Commies also pollute the environment a lot. Oh, the Soviet Union sure did. Let's see. Same blind idealistic fanaticism and naivete, different organization. Looking up New Braunfels, Texas. I did think that I did not know enough to be doing that work. and learned everything I could about environmental issues. I did eventually find that I did not agree with everything Greenpeace did. He should have just retorted, but I'm just a new brown fella. Ugh. Yeah. Don't think that would have had the desired effect there, Les. Parker, and that is why you are so wise now. Lowell, says Parker. 2005, huh? Wow. All right. Texas. The first, overt racism that I experienced was basically my friend's parents when I was living in Kansas City, Missouri, like in elementary school. And my parents did not use racial slurs, at least not around me. Not when I was a kid. I never heard any of that. But my parents' friends sure did. And, it's the stereotypical, immigrant populations who are now considered white, but who weren't when they first got here. So I had a really good friend, probably my best friend from the fourth grade on. His parents moved to Kansas City, Missouri from Philadelphia, and they were German Americans from Philadelphia, and he and his parents were some of the most racist people I've ever met in my life. And yet, we also had black friends, and he was fine with my black friends, or our black friends, when they were around. And when they weren't around, he was dropping the N-bomb. Not super cool. Let's see. There we are. I like that. And to this day, he remains the most racist person I know in real life. He has been in many a fight with black men simply because they were black and they gave him some irritation. He starts a fight. He's been arrested for it many times. He's done battle with police. And he's quite the drinker as well, probably goes without saying. Oh, hey, I lost a door over here. Let's go back to our background tones and lighten it a bit so I can find the door. There's the door. And then back to ink. And I'm just going to kind of cheat and just use the line tool. Although that's too fat. Let's try like a 7. What am I looking for? I'm looking for that. All right, so let's crank the tones back up. And lighten it a bit. And do that. All right, and a little darker, smaller brush. Just need a bit of shadow there. Oh, what's this? All right. Oh, not that. Let's see, what else have I missed? To err is human, but to learn from the error is superhuman. My grandparents were harsh racists, but I was never on the receiving end of it until that experience. I did not encounter overt racism growing up. In the 1980s, I was told racism was solved, like in the 60s, and it was not a thing anymore. Well, clearly it was still a thing, although it's certainly being cynically overblown today for political and social purposes. So there's a new episode of The Mandalorian out today. I'll probably watch that during the day after I get back from the gym, before I push on with the editing of a new episode of The Vaults. Malcolm X would cringe if he saw the BLM protests. I hate to say it, but what I know of Malcolm X, I mainly know from the Spike Lee movie. Alexa, notification.
One new notification. From Alexa News. From NPR, Joe Biden has taken a slight lead over President Trump in Georgia and Pennsylvania today. Ballots are still being counted in 4 key states. Do you want to hear more about this?
Sure.
Do you want to hear more about this?
Yes, Alexa, tell me more.
I couldn't find any enabled video skills that can do that. Go to the Alexa app to manage your video skills and devices.
Then why offer? Silly robot, why offer something you can't deliver? All right, I just poured my final cup of coffee for the day. Or at least my final cup of coffee with caffeine in it. I might make a pot of decaf for the afternoon. Okay. I bet you 5 zlotys Kennedy is going to try to spin out 3 or 4 other shows off of Mandalorian. Kathleen Kennedy? No, she's been stripped of power. I mean, she's still hanging on there and drawing a salary, but she's no longer calling the shots. She absolutely, utterly screwed the pooch with The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. So she is Bob Iger and Bob K-Peck. What's his name? Who replaced Bob Iger? K-Peck, I think his name is. They are keeping Kathleen Kennedy away from the Mandalorian set. They are keeping her away from Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. She is not going to be allowed to drive Star Wars into the ground any further. All right, a little darker. little darker. Darker still. There we go. Go back to this layer. Has Ed been here at all today? Huh. Scrolling back, I don't see anything from Ed. All right. Kamo, I was thinking after listening to you about how the conservatives always used to bemoan the death of shaming. People were not being shamed for divorce, for example. Well, boy, shaming is back, let me tell you. Oh, okay, well, that's good to hear, says Les. I'm out of the Southwest, or, I don't know, what is SW? Social Worrier? You're missing a J there? I'm out of the SW political loop. Now conservatives and others talk about how bad cancel culture is, which is basically shaming. Yeah, except cancel culture has the additional aim of destroying people financially, and, the people who are most susceptible to being destroyed financially are working people, not other celebrities or high-paid, journalists or whatnot. Shaming is one of the most effective punishments, Parker, but who wields the punishment and for what purposes is another matter. And now, the shaming is primarily taking place on social media, and the social media companies are definitely not neutral players. They're taking sides, and they approve of some shaming, and they, harshly punish other forms of shaming or attempts at shaming. Shaming is effectively being outcast from society. The problem is that people have to realize it is no shame leaving a sick and corrupt society. I haven't seen Ed. Star Wars. Oh, I see. SW is Star Wars. Right. I was talking about Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, Bob Iger, Jon Favreau. Right. No, to my shame, that is something that I follow in great detail. So Kathleen Kennedy has one show that she's in charge of. It hasn't aired yet. They haven't, I think people have been cast for it. But it's going to be, the Star Wars version of Captain Marvel. It's going to star Brie Larson, and she's going to be the embodiment of the Force, and she's going to be the most powerful Jedi ever. It's just more the, hey, instead of writing a good character, who has to overcome some struggles, who has flaws or inadequacies that she has to confront and deal with. Let's just make her perfect from the beginning, and her character arc will be she just gets more and more powerful. Hey, Paul. Thank you. Laters. Rose she's no longer, she's gone off to bed, but thanks, man. I'll let her know that you wished her well. See you later. All right. Quarter hour left in the stream. Let's see if I can... Oh, actually, I see something else that needs to be removed. Back up to that layer, and... Zip. There we go. Like that. Delete. All right, now... Okay, that didn't work. Let's try the correct layer. Background tones. Select that. Nope. Wow. All right, we'll do it like this. And we will remove that. All right, so now let's go darker and like that. Nope, not like that. There we are. Here. What's happening? Why can I not draw here? Oh, because I have the blending tool. Right, back. There we are. Nope, not what I meant to do. Also not what I meant to do. There, that's what I meant to do. All right, let's get some shading going on the grays. Wrong layer. Try again. Character tones. All right. Sorry, guys, haven't looked at the chat. I'll do that in just a sec here. Nope, not that. Not that. Let's try again. What do we got here? Cheers, Paul. A perfect character. How relatable. Who are we talking about here? Who, Parker? The character KMO was talking about. Well, even KMO doesn't know what character that is. On whatever Star Wars show that will be. Oh, the Brie Larson character. Pfft. I'm pretty sure that show's never going to get made. Let's hope. Funny, I got into Star Wars really late, says Les. I was in high school when I first saw the movies, and I still prefer Star Trek and Dune Saga. Steve has a Hershey Kiss head. Yeah, I guess he does. Parker, can I guess your zodiac sign? So, Steve is he's a genetic mashup of all of the other characters in the base. So his head here really is a reference to Derek's head. But he also has cuttlefish and gecko genes and owl genes. And what else has he got in there? And human genes. Plenty of human there in Steve. But now that you've brought my attention to Steve, he could also use some highlights. So let's go over here. On the character tones layer. Good. All right. And I'll use the same highlight tone I was using on the grays. Oh, that ain't it. There we go. Yeah. In the right place. It needs to be a little brighter than that. Even. The grays are a little darker than he is. Let's see, how about like that? And like that. And that. And a little on the chin. Okay. So there's that. Okay, we need this wall over here. No. Let's try that again. There we go. So now it's going to be a dark to light. Yeah, that's probably good, but let's go really light like that. And then make sure we're on the right layer, background tones. I'm going to ditch background sketch at this point. And all right, let's try it like that. All right, and that reveals coloring outside the lines over here on this gray. So let's select that and go to character tones and delete. All right. So some of that's going to get cut off. We'll come back to that. So back to the grays. We need a highlight tone and a shade tone. And let's select them and push on. 5 minutes left in the stream. How much can I accomplish in 5 minutes? Oh, I suppose I should read here. Libra or Gemini? Let's see. Sure, but I don't put any stock in zodiac signs. Neither do I. That's why neither of us has anything to lose. Libra or Gemini, but not sure which. Parker. His waist is narrow like a wasp. I saw a fat guy wearing a I Beat Anorexia t-shirt. That's pretty good. Sorry, Parker. A bit out of nowhere, but that thin waist comment triggered my recent association. That would be pretty comical, though, to have one of the grays be fat. Yeah, the grays are all very skinny. True that. All right, I'm not going to get so fussy that I'm drawing individual ribs, so let's back up on that. What else we got here? My niece's husband on Facebook just now. Applause to King Biden for successfully cheating his way to victory. Congrats. Ha! He's 22. Your niece's husband is 22? Yeah. Yeah. So my go-to reference for what the Red Tribe is thinking is young Colin over at the TV station. And I talked to him yesterday. I asked him if I could get him on camera to give his opinion about the electoral contest, and he declined. I don't think he wants his conspiracy notions challenged. That was my interpretation. Maybe an uncharitable one. Oh, how about some shading up on the head, eh? That. Too much detail. All right, let's go over to this dude. All right, and highlights. We're very simple with those. Well, maybe not that simple. Oh, look at that. Got some character ink that needs fixing. There we are. And let us deselect and hide some blemishes. Like that's too big. That. And that. And then. Oh, wrong layer. There we go. Oh, wrong layer. No? We need background tones. There we go. All right. What have I not done for a very long time? Save. Okay, and now, let's see. All right, let's... do that, and invert it, and delete. There we go. All right. Oh, right. Still need more highlights over here on the grays. The character tones. Let's grab that highlight tone and there we are. The nose. The cheeks. Do the grays ever have cheeks? Maybe a little on the chin. Here, collarbones, shoulders, chest. There. Oh, wait. He has legs, too. Nope, wrong color. All right, everybody. Your guess for KMO is wrong. KMO is Taurus Aries cusp. No, when's a Virgo born? I was born on April 20th. All right, everybody. I'm shutting it down. Talk to you later.